Hi, I'm Miriam, and for my instructional material assignment, I chose to do it on this book, Summer Color by Diana Murray. My targeted students are around second grade level, and according to the WIDA document, they would be about maybe around the developing level where they are able to construct more complex and longer sentences. And I chose this book specifically because you can tell from the cover there are lots of really colorful illustrations, which really help support the text because there are words in there that may not be as familiar to these um, English learners, and in that way, as I'm reading the book to them, they'll be able to look at the pictures to help them use the context to figure out what the unknown vocabulary is, as well as the colors are emphasized. The word that the colors are used in that color, so it helps them have that stick in their minds as well. And so, two activities that I thought of specifically was first, as after I finished the book, I would go back to certain pages. I can choose whatever colors I want. For example, with the color red. It says, Mama serves peaches and cold lemonade. It's hard to stay cool even here in the shade. Daddy and Uncle bring chairs from the shed. Our cousin shares ice pop so swirly and red. And so I would talk about how the red is describing, well, I would ask them what the red is describing. And we could look at the pictures and kind of use that to help us as well. And then going off of that, I would ask them, what are some things at home or at school that you know are red? And I know we'll start with a very simple question, and after they give me an example, I will ask them some follow-up questions like, what, how big is it, or how small is it? Just have these simple follow-up questions that will help them to give me more details, and at the end I'll help them put it all together into one more complex sentence that contains all of these like descriptions or adjectives of this item. And so for that one, the theory that I'm thinking that it'll help me focus on would be the zone of proximal development, because I'm opening it up to the students. They can choose really the answer, and based on that, we'll go from there and we'll kind of slowly move up and into like a higher level where the answers eventually become more complex because we put it together into that longer sentence. And the second activity I was thinking of is also done after the reading of this book. I would create a chart with, there's 12 colors in here, but I would just choose 6 of them. Choose 6 of the colors, and so there'd be a box for each color, and for that color I would make sure to print it in that color, like red would be red. And for half of them, they can choose which half they want. I would have them to describe an item, kind of like what we did verbally, but this time they'll write it down. And then the other half, they'll have the opportunity to draw in a color an item of that color. And for this one, I was thinking that the theory, it's social cultural theory, because it draws from, they're pulling from, they would be using that graphic organizer as a mediation tool. The colors there will provide a layer for them to draw in, and we will just have done that discussion about the colors where I ask them for examples and for more description. So they're pulling from the book and from each other and from questions that I provide for them as they are, and the organizer as they are creating these examples that they're either writing or drawing. And finally, as for some of the challenges, I think it might I think a big challenge would be to have them think outside of the box a little bit. It's easy to just say the sky is blue, but I think if I ask more thought-provoking questions, then that could help them think a little bit more and pull out words that they know maybe they don't use as much. And then another problem could be if I was talking to just one student, it'd be hard to pull in the attention of all the students, but maybe I could have all the students come up with answers. It could be a class discussion instead of just having one person describe it. And some benefits are that there's multiple modalities built into it. We're talking about it, so some audio. There's visual from the book, from like the organization of the graphic organizer, and finally kinesthetic, where they're writing or drawing. And in the future, I would probably talk, if they're having trouble thinking of like descriptions, I would like walk them through that same process, like having them come up with an example and not give them more questions, like one at a time, so they can come up with something more concrete and with more details. Thank you.